All right, this is a virtual tour of the 1904 World's Fair using a panorama image that was taken by a photographer in the Ferris wheel, showing the whole fair really. And so I'm going to this file was provided by the Missouri Historical Society. Amanda Conch over there provided this for me, and I put it up on the gigapan website. The URL that you see up here is the location of this file. If you want to go on the internet and type this URL in, you'll be able to do the same thing that I'm doing here as I show this to you. Down below, I have some snapshots that I've made. You can take a snapshot if you click here, and after you've zoomed in somewhere, and then it'll show up down below, so you can click on these snapshots to zoom in on the area. You can also go full screen, so I'm going to do that now. I click on that icon. So I'm now full screen, and I'm using my mouse just with the pointer to move it around and position the image where I want it to be. Now down below, I do have these snapshots. I'm going to click on one of them, and it zooms in on the Morocco exhibit. Now I can use my roller mouse to roll back out and show the more of the area. I can also zoom in. This was Jim Key was a horse that was a spelling horse. He was exhibited on the pike, but also it looks like he had a stable here off the pike, because the pike, if you zoom back out here and move over to the left of this image and zoom back in this corner here, you're going to see part of the pike. The pike actually, this negative actually has some deterioration, had a little water damage, so you can't see very clearly over in this area. But if you get in pretty close, you can see that this was a Galveston flood exhibit. That was a part of the pike. And if we move over, you can zoom in and see other aspects of the pike. There was a chute. You could get a ride on this water slide on a sort of like a boat that went down this water slide. And there was a little bit of a roller coaster over there. And if we kind of cursor down the pike here, you can see another exhibit. And I forgot what this one was called, but somebody who's an expert on the fair pike will let you know. And if I come down this way on the pike, and here is the creation exhibit on the pike, that big dome and the entrance here. And if I keep coming down on the pike, way in the background here, to eventually get toward the end of the pike, I can see here's Ireland exhibit. And then you see these fake mountains, which are part of an Anheuser-Busch exhibit at the very end of the pike itself. And if I zoom back out a little bit and keep going over, you'll be able to see off in the far distance this wireless tower. And another panorama image was taken from the top of this tower. Actually, 4 photographs were taken, and I was able to concatenate those into a gigapan image and a panorama image, and you can see that elsewhere on the gigapan website. But it was the photographs were taken from the opposite side of the fairgrounds, so you get a glimpse of what the fair looked like from that side as well. And if I zoom back out a little bit and scroll over, you're going to see this is Art Hill, and there are cascades flowing down here out into this bay. Here is Festival Hall, where the world's largest organ was housed and played. And then if I cursor over a little more here, you'll see here's the current art museum right here. And these were buildings that were attached to the art museum or around it. And they had also exhibits, but they were all temporary buildings, and they were all torn down after the fair. The only remaining building that you see in this picture really is the art museum. I'll zoom in a little bit closer to it. And between the art museum and the back of Festival Hall, there was this pathway. And of course, this still exists. Now, if you go to Art Hill today, of course, this building is all torn down, and King Louis, the statue, has been moved up to this location. King Louis used to be way over near the pike. And out on the other panorama, you can see King Louis from the other direction, from the photographs that were taken from the wireless tower. Here is the city of Jerusalem. A replica of the old city was made, and you can kind of see how it was situated. If you were driving up toward the art museum on the road that still exists there, you would see the art museum, but before you got up there, you see a golf course over in this area. But this was the city of Jerusalem in that location back in 1904. And this building here, there were restaurants in these buildings next to the Art Hill, and this is Art Hill going down there as well. And so this is a pretty good overview of the whole fairgrounds. From this angle. And here is the Japanese gardens. And if we continue over, you can see some of the other palaces that were in there. This building, with all the smokestacks on it, was a place where a lot of coal was brought in, a lot of energy was produced here for the fair, for the electric lights and such things. And so there were a lot of boilers in here. And if you kind of cursor over here and come down, you can see what looks like a pile of wood or lumber or coal that was next to it. And you can see a train tracks going along here, along the fairgrounds. There was an intramural train that would take you around. I'm not sure that that's what those were. These might have been for the coal cars coming in to the fairgrounds. And I'm going to cursor over here a little more and zoom in on some of the detail. This, I believe, was the Palace of Transportation and the tracks that brought trains into the palace. And there are big trains inside of here that you can see inside of this building, and other pictures that are up there as well. And you zoom in and see the crowds coming in and out of the palaces, and see the size of these palaces as well. And these were booths where you could purchase refreshments or water, different kinds of things. And some of these had water tanks in them. You can get some fresh water. But anyway, this is available to you at that URL I showed you earlier. And then you can use these links down here, these snapshots as they're called, to click on. And you can go in and zoom in on some of the various specifics of this gigapan image. And this is I'm going to go over here, this one. So, and I kind of zoomed in on the Galveston flood earlier. Again, use your roller mouse to move back and forth. Hold your left mouse button down and scroll across the screen.